your explanation are in his sheets.
Yep. I just wanted to make sure that they were the same set of numbers.
I'm a little bit, like, I'm a couple dollars off, and I think that it's a rounding error, so.
So these sheets are your, the sheets your sheets?
These ones right here,
Yeah.
and they actually, you know, it's up to you guys, but they actually offer a better breakdown of, you know, like, instead of just saying building maintenance or equipment maintenance, it shows you all the different areas.
When we actually go to adjust the numbers, we'll adjust it on this sheet, and so on, but this gives you the backup information,
Right.
basically, for everything, so.
Just the numbers. That's kind of starting off on the wrong foot.
I didn't say which way.
Oh, all right. Okay, I can buy into that.
Yeah, you could probably guess which way you can go, but yeah, I didn't say. Yes.
Yeah, where would you like me to start?
At the top.
At the top, okay. Operating budget, or, I don't think you have.
I don't have the capital budget yet.
No, I didn't actually submit a capital plan. I submitted a cover sheet that breaks down what we'd like to do. And I didn't want to punch numbers in there and try to make it work so I could display it until we had our discussion. And then, if that's good with you, I'll submit numbers based on, well, no, this is the direction. I've put down on paper on this cover sheet the projects that we'd like to do that would impact.
Right, the only other thing that I thought we've gotten in the past on the capital plan was that it indicates any revenue
Yep.
into the department, and I didn't see revenue anywhere on.
Yeah, the capital plan does demonstrate both revenue and expenses. I have the sheet here. Revenues generated were 62,000, actually.
Well, let's see here. I'm trying to remember.
You gotta subtract, from the money going in, you gotta subtract 40, so I think it was right around 62,000.
Yes,
That sound
thank
right?
you. 62,759.23.
How much of that was from receipts for, like
Yeah,
insurance?
actually, rescue revenues, I've reported to you about some of our calls last year being right off the charts and stuff like that. Our call volume, I shouldn't say it was off the charts, it was, actually came back to more near normal, what we had been running for like 2 or 3 years straight. It had been progressively declining. This last year, 2015, call volume went back up to pretty much where it had been before. We'd been just right around the vitamin stage, a call a day on an average, and I think last year when I get it all put together and put in the town report, it's actually going to come out to slightly over a call a day. So, not one every day, but but anyways, start with the operating budget and the labor lines.
That's page one.
Which one
right?
is everybody looking at? Mine
Page one.
or?
I've got my hand in both of them, so.
Yep. It,
Both are the same, right?
it will-
The numbers should be
well,
the same, but
bottom
they're
line is the
displayed
same.
differently.
Mine breaks it down a little bit more in depth. So it's-
Joe on page one, correct?
Yep, page
Yeah.
one, if you look at the labor line on mine,
Yeah.
it actually breaks it down into, what, 4 categories? Part-time, and actually on any of the labor line, what you'll find is I increased it 2%. The chief's pay, same thing, as a 2% increase, but I believe you said there were 53 pay periods this year?
Right.
Yep, so it's 2% and then a week added to it for the chief's pay, but that's the only one that's really impacted based on a weekly pay deal. But anyways, all the pays, I changed them based on 2%. The part-time, that represents a 2% pay increase on the individuals. We talked about utilizing some of the part-time to do some of the equipment maintenance. I didn't move any of those costs from equipment maintenance to payroll. I left them under equipment maintenance because I have to get the equipment maintenance done. So I don't want to commit that it should be a labor item. Unless you guys are ready to commit, it should be a labor item. I'd just as soon see how it works and see if we can make it work and stuff, and then switch it out that way. we can still, where it's not line item, it's bottom line, we still have that freedom of movement within the budget. But it's up to you guys. I didn't move that over to the part-time stuff, so I didn't move any extra time in there to cover Mike doing any of that maintenance work on the apparatus. But that is increased 2%. Chief's pay, chief's pay is 2% plus the week added on for the 53 pay periods. Deputy chiefs, the stipends, that's a change of 2% again. The hourly rates is actually based on what we expended last year and then 2% above that. Actually, I think hourly rates, I'm sorry, I went 3% just to cover increases in call volume and things like that.
So the deputies is 3%, not 2%?
No, the deputies are 2%.
2%, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, health insurance, that number is based on what Ruth gave me. I think I calculated it correctly. And that's for me. The retirement, that pertains, because actually I think it just listed as FICA and Maine State retirement. Mine actually breaks it down to retirement, that 361054. It may be off a little, pretty close, because there's actually, 2 or 3 steps in the course of next year, I think you represented.
Until the 1st of July, it's 5.6%, and then after the 1st of July, it's 6.5%. So
Yeah.
it goes up to actually what FICA really is.
So rather than trying to break it down, I actually think what I did was do 6% or 6.1%. I'd have to look at what I did, but I didn't break it down into this many pay weeks in this section and this many pay weeks in this section. I took an average of the 2 percentages, and I think I did 6.1% on the pay to come up with that, rather than doing the 5.5 and the 6.5.
That should work.
FICA, that's on all the other labor line. There is no FICA on the chief's pay. The Medicare, that's on all the payroll items. It's percentage based on all the payroll items. The insurance is the supplemental, for lack of a better way to phrase it, supplemental work comp that we have on the people over there to cover them when they're performing duties that workers' comp does not necessarily cover. Light bill, it budgeted 5280. We came out pretty close to it.
Wow.
I would assume that I would assume light bills are going to be stable or perhaps even go down a little. So I looked at it 5280. Propane consumption was down over what we estimated the previous year. Cost was down over what we estimated, and actually we're having a mild winter, so
Are we on contract still, or are we now on RAC?
we're on contract. It's with everybody. It was town building contract.
We're cash RAC right now, which is probably okay right now, but
Right.
yeah.
And the $1.80 is pretty sure that was an exact number from our last year. And the building maintenance, as you can see, the building maintenance last year, that one got beat up bad, and that was because we have a phase converter for our breathing air compressor over there, and the phase converter is actually probably the biggest thing that drove building maintenance up there like it was. So building maintenance actually represents a couple $100 increase in the building maintenance line. Some of the items within the building maintenance line, I reduced, some of them I increased slightly based on what I thought we were gonna see, like the water. We did the water this year. Next year I'll have the sewer.
You have
septic
sewer,
system.
how often do you have the sewer done?
Try to alternate.
So every other,
Yeah,
you're
try to do
getting
the
1,000
water
gallon
one year
tank?
and do the septic the next
You're
year.
getting a 1,000 gallon tank pumped every other year?
I'm not even sure how big our tank is, to be honest.
1,000 gallons. I'm just saying, my house is 1,000 gallons, I get mine pumped every 3 to 4 years, so I mean, normal. How much do you get yours done, Keith? Every other year, every 4 or 5 years? Well, you get a whole house full, right? I mean, you might be able to save yourself if you just stretch it out through another, a couple $100 there. I don't think it's get done every year, you got a lot of business over there.
I do mine every 2 years. I actually think if you check with the septic guy, he's gonna tell you should have it done every 2 years. I realize he's
He'll tell
trying
you
to
every
be on
year.
my business. It's,
Jason told me every 2 years.
I think mine's it's every 2. I think I have stretched it 3, but I think it's every 2 I do.
I do it for business, I do it for life.
That is entirely up to the board. To me, $200 or $300 that invested into pumping the septic system, to me, that's a pretty cheap investment versus replacing the septic system.
I'll check on that.
The only thing is if you don't pump it, the solids get into the fields, and your field's gone, and you gotta rebuild the entire
Yep.
system.
That's a very small field too,
Mm-hmm.
very small field, so.
Okay, that's what I do for it to work, so I'll check on it for you.
Yep, equipment maintenance. That was the one that was really up there, and that was because some of the repairs that we ended up doing to rescue and engine 22. But anyways, and it's primarily in that one line. Some of the other lines I actually cut, trying to make it come out as close as I possibly could. So anyways, equipment maintenance, as I said, I didn't take anything out for having Mike do the equipment apparatus maintenance. However, I do recommend we go down that path, but I do think we should leave the money here because we have to have the maintenance done one way or the other. If we can make it work so we hire him and use the money under the labor line, then that's great. Because I think we'll actually save money if we do that. But anyways, that represents a $2,300 increase. However, it's actually about $2,000, $2,100 less than what we ended up spending last year.
Bill, can I just back you up just once? On the building maintenance, on the doors, what's the maintenance for the doors for 500? What kind of
Yep,
maintenance?
last year doors, we ended up
That's just
placing
the overheads?
it's the overhead doors, having them come in and work on the overhead doors, and then if we end up having issues with one of them, getting the issues addressed. Last year, the $860 expenditure, I think, was a top panel, wasn't it?
Well, it was the bottom.
Getting run into, or what's happening to them? Just not wearing out, or?
The top panels, especially because of the weight of the door, eventually sag, number one. And number two, I think in this particular case, I think it has the quick release on them, and the quick release got tangled up with an apparatus and started to drop the door. That's what it was. It was the bottom panel. Quick release got tangled up with the apparatus when it was leaving. We had no power, so the quick release got tangled up with the apparatus, and it ended up taking out the door started down.
Something we can do to.
So it was actually a cheap fix, because it could have been one of the
Is
apparatus.
there something to do to prevent that, or is this something that has to be, every year have to be fixed, or is this something that just, what I'm trying to say, if they come in and
It has
replace
a
it.
rope release that they're
I understand that.
they're
Every
12-foot
year,
high doors. Every year, the maintenance, that's if you want to have them come in and adjust it, and cheaper than replacing doors all the time, especially when 860s are paneled for a door.
right, you need to have done every year.
Yeah.
Just checking. I got 12-foot doors in my place, I understand.
All right, training, last year, we had 7,700 budgeted. We only expended 6,152. Hopefully, actually, I'm gonna rectify that. We're working on trying to rectify it. I gotta be honest with you, I know we wanna save money, but the bottom line is we have that training money there for a reason, and I wanna see it spent on people moving forward with their training or getting the new people coming in for training. Gasoline, we actually moved that in with diesel fuel. Last year, we're down to just the small engines are the only stuff over there that takes gasoline. So that's actually why on my sheets I changed that line to say fuel instead of diesel, because it actually does include some expenses for gasoline. But anyways, transport services. The one thing about we budgeted 43, we spent 47. Wasn't based on intercepts. We actually had a high number of intercepts, but actually one or two of the services have actually reduced their intercept fee. One of them because of mutual aid agreement with them and stuff, but they've reduced their mutual aid fee. One of them doesn't even charge us an intercept fee. But billing service, I represented, call volume was up. Billing service, we pay per call, so
Right.
billing service, we're up.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yep.
The billing, so we are paying a billing service that sends out bills for
Mhm.
rescue
Yep.
and that kind of thing. And that generates a fair amount of revenue. I think the number you said was 62 some odd
Yes.
$1,000.
Yep.
And I question why that revenue is not being used to at least offset the cost of sending the bills out. Why that we're raising the money for the billing service, and it's generating money, but it's not generating money that's paying for the billing service.
Because when it was set up, I believe it was voted that any money coming in from bills would go directly would go into the capital account. And once it's in the capital account, we can't use it in the.
Right, and
So-
so we're paying for these intercepts out of pocket. The town's paying for them, and the town's paying for the billing service. But and then the reimbursement money is going into the capital fund, which I have no objection to, but I think we should at least pay for the cost of sending the bills out with the money that the bills generate, and then put the balance in.
I mean, we could do that, but now, I wasn't here, I wasn't here at the town floor or anything when the vote was made, but if, do you remember if that was a town vote?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so if it's a town
It
vote,
seemed like a funny system
we
to me
would-
that we're paying every year to send out
we
bills,
would have
and
to
the
put
money that the bills generate.
we would have to put an article on there to change that so that that the first, however much we were budgeting for transport could come out of that
At
first.
least it's supporting itself, I
So,
guess.
so the only way that we could make that change is we'd have to have a town vote.
I just was
I
curious. I
guess-
just was trying to understand it mostly, because I wasn't
Make a
here.
point on it. The bottom line is there's other expenses that come to it. The bottom line is the town still sees the benefit of the revenues that are generated. It goes into the capital account, and actually establishes a savings plan that, in a manner of speaking, is actually, going back to the years when we put zero into the capital account, we were still getting revenues to go into it. So take it away, this is just,
I'm just
to
trying to
me, this is
understand
the
it
tip of the
mostly.
iceberg, is if we take this away and put it in against, and put the revenues against the operating here, well then, okay, well, what about maybe under equipment maintenance, the EMS supply line, and forward through, we've depleted the savings plan to do the capital replacement and stuff, so, bottom line is we either do the capital plan, the savings capital plan, or we do the operational expenses.
I was just really trying to understand
And
what
actually
the
the-
cost was and what it
The
pertained
article, in all honesty, was in place prior to the establishment. I think we started the first responder service about the same time the article went in place. The article actually went in place because of, actually, if you saw the news tonight, they were talking, the legislature's talking about making it state law about fire departments being able to bill insurance companies.
Yeah, I saw that.
And but anyways, the article and actually the account was established. Well, we actually tried a lot of stuff and they may be talking about it. We actually have, the town of Durham has an ordinance that allowed us, you guys, to actually establish fee structure. And we actually did away with the fee structure and the billing about, somebody asked me a while back, I think it was about 7 years ago, that we did away with that because most of the insurance companies will reject your invoice. And the other thing most people don't realize is most of our insurance companies have a ceiling. Once that ceiling is met, doesn't matter what you send them for a bill, you're not getting a plug nickel, and they're gonna send you a letter saying that, hey, sorry, we're out of money. Same thing on the EMS side, so.
at least the legislature is trying to get the main care reimbursement rate for rescue visits up.
Yeah, the
comparable
Medicare,
to federal, and that's pending right now.
Yep. They have different rates, and it's actually not an exception or a major, it is a major change. It would have a major impact for us because of the region that we're put into. Most of the hospitals in that region, in that southern down towards Boston region, short transport distance. When we do a transport, we tie up the rig, and even in a town, Brunswick, they might do a quick turnaround, but most of us, we don't have a hospital in our community. Good turnaround times, an hour and a quarter to an hour and a half. Sometimes you're looking at almost 3 hours turnaround time. And we're actually in better shape than some of our northern counterparts. Some of our northern counterparts, they're actually better off to fly somebody to the hospital than they are to drive them to the hospital. So I hope that does pass. they are trying to make changes in some of the EMS stuff. But the bottom line is, this was actually in place before, it was actually, I am pretty sure if we check the records, it was done when we started doing the invoicing for fire department services. And we established the account, the capital account, so, I would encourage you to leave it the way it is, because it actually, even if the town has those years when it can't afford to put money away in for capital, we're still technically putting money away for capital. May not be to where the plan needs us to, but it's better than nothing.
Thank you for explaining.
So anyways, that's what the transport services cover. Fuel, I based our actual last year, I gotta move that line over a little. I based it on our actual last year was 1330.8, 1,600 gallons, and I used the 250, which I think that's a few cents more than our last invoice was. It brought us, it's still a reduction of 780 over what we budgeted last year, and it's actually about $370 less than what we spent last year.
Are we using GP cog, or are you still getting it and
No,
getting the
no,
reimbursement?
what it actually worked out to was and we can actually do the tax thing through GP cog. We didn't end up, again, really saving, what, 0.2 of a cent or less than that. I think it's actually less than that. And then there was a difficulty with the fuel deliveries, and I don't know if the roads have gone with it, but that was one of the things on my fuel deliveries, is I needed the roads to go with it simultaneously. So it's through Down East. It's no more longer Durham Oil. It's through Down East.
Yeah.
They do actually, when they send out our invoicing, they do separate, this is what's the bill, I guess it's probably this is what the bill would be, and this is what your tax is. So, no, we're still paying the tax, and we still apply for the reimbursement, and it's through Down East. Dues, basically, it's slightly less than last year. And the only reason it's slightly less, couple of lines went up. However, Cumberland Chiefs, we do more mutual aid with Cumberland County, but actually to be a member of Cumberland Chiefs, I nor the officers have time to attend the meetings or do the active participation within the organization, so I think we're fine to do the mutual aid and just look at the emails as a neighboring counterpart and stuff like that.
Any undercharge in FF?
The what?
Does it say? Yeah, I said don't. What's the second one? SME?
Southern Maine EMS
Yeah.
service fee, and actually that was $671 last year. It's
Why is
based
it-
on a base rate.
Yeah.
We're part of Southern Maine EMS. There's 6 EMS regions in the
Yeah.
state of Maine. You pay based your service fee to the region for coordination, training, and other things like that is based on a certain rate for a transport ambulance, and then so much per call from the previous year. So it was $671 last year. I'd budgeted 8. I left the 8 there because I'd be sure the 8 may not actually be enough this coming year because of the increase in the number of transports.
And so I wasn't clear, what does this provide, this particular one, what does it provide?
We don't have an option.
We don't, okay.
Yeah, well, we do. I shouldn't say that. We do have an option. We don't transport.
Okay, so to be
If
able,
we're gonna transport, we either belong to, we are actually in Tri-County, where we're in Androscoggin. But we were licensed through Southern Maine EMS back when we first started the service, because more of our transports go to Southern Maine EMS hospitals, which are Brunswick and Portland. Lewiston is a Tri-County.
so this is more of
Hospital.
this is a license.
What you're actually. Yeah.
Contract?
Yeah, it's a contract. You have to be part of one of the 6 regions. It's one of the other things the state of Maine is actually looking at, whether or not we should have regions. Because you asked me what we get for it. Is there a training center? So we can do our trainings under their auspices and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Going back in time, we used to get a lot out of it. Now we don't get much out of it, but we have no option. You have to be part of a region if
If
you're
you
gonna
transport, you need to be.
be EMS
Okay.
service.
Yep.
What's the CLIA laboratory?
Medical waste. But, I had it in there last year. We spent nothing. It's a 2-year thing. We have to be registered because we throw away medical stuff. They do nothing for collecting or anything like that, but because we generate medical waste, we have to be licensed. So, it's an every 2-year thing. I had it in there last year. I don't know if they missed us in the billing cycle or what happened. Well, then I didn't ask questions about it, but they never actually sent us an invoice.
So you could be due this year.
I would assume it should be due this year unless they've overlooked us or forgotten us. I'm not gonna ask.
Then you'll get a 300 at some point.
I'm not gonna ask. I am not gonna
We've
ask
seen that
either
happen.
way.
Hopefully they're not watching.
Do you work for them?
No. No, I don't work for them.
Yeah, chief's expenses, the expenses were down a little predominantly because of the mileage last year. I left it the same this year. I actually think they're gonna be pretty close to that budget amount this year with the classes. I talked about the fire inspector. I've been commuting to Augusta every week and only got a couple more of those, but the next class is Brunswick. So I think that's gonna be pretty close this year. Prevention. Budgeted 700, we spent 420. Typically, we spend somewhere between 4 and once in a while we go slightly over that 7, but it's pretty rare. So I budgeted that again for 7. Personal safety, it was actually in the, most of that is pretty close or on track. We budgeted $15,037. We spent $11,445, and I budgeted it this year at $15,011. The predominant reason that we had a surplus in that account line was primarily turnout gear, and if you look at it, that where it says 4469 in the expended column, it shows 3 sets of turnouts at 1,600, which that is correct, the correct price for a coat and jacket for 4,800. But that 4469 wasn't just on coat and jackets. That was collectively for anything that was turnout gear, gloves, suspenders. We spent 4469, so it was in the turnout gear area. And obviously, we didn't buy 3 coats and 3 pair of pants. However, the gear's getting older, and I can't, in good faith, sit here and tell you that we should cut that based on the fact that we didn't end up replacing 3 sets yet last year. The gear's actually, I think this year it's 11 years old, most of it, because most of it came through on a grant, so. At dispatch, 21,976, and we spent 20,902. No real major reason on the dispatch stuff except for repeater repairs. We didn't have much in the way for repeater repairs, and actually I cut that next year down to 200 to try to help increase the costs in the contract for dispatching. Help decrease the cost in the contract for dispatching. Wherever I could within that line, I tried to cut it to help with that cost. Because what I have in there is what the $3 per capita works out for. Supplies, that was actually up last year because if you remember right, last year we put the handbook in there. The handbook, we purchased the materials. We have probably 3/4 of it to print it ourselves rather than send it out for print. We have it about 3/4, half 3/4 of the way done, the proof and the review part of it done. So we're getting closer to being ready to start the printing process. So that was a reduction because that handbook, we need a little bit to just finish the project off, but that's it. And I said finish the project off. Let me just clarify on the finishing the project off. The handbook, I would hope once we get it back up and the reissuing to everybody that the project's never really finished. a work in progress constantly. We're updating it, providing new people copies and stuff like that, so I would hope that it'll never go away, that at least some cost in that area. And then workers' comp, last year,
Could I just
Go
ask,
ahead.
is the software a renewal or something of a
yep,
proprietary?
yeah, the software is not actually new purchases, it's our, we have the EMS reporting software for patient run reports in there, and then our IMC, when we talked about dispatch, our contracts for that.
So yeah, so that you just have to
Yep.
subscribe.
Yeah, it's mostly based on contract renewals. The 104875 that you see in that line, that's actually our IMC renewal. It doesn't incorporate a Image Trend, that's it. That's the other software provider, is Image Trend. It doesn't include a Image Trend license renewal in there. I think it was actually paid at the tail end of the previous year. But they are annual contract fees. And then workers' comp. Workers' comp,
It is what it is.
either our biggest or second biggest area of increase. Went from 11, call it 11.5 to 7.1, 17.1. So, and then I have
Did they give a good
no
reason
control
for,
over.
did they give a good reason for the big increase?
Our experience mod runs back 3 years, and now it includes 2014. In 2014, we did have a claim. So that goes on our experience mod, which increased our workers' comp
I see.
tremendously.
Wanted to go back to make sure I understood, because I think some calculations may be off on what you were requesting for your salary. Did you say you put in for a 2% increase plus the 53-week year? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Because what this calculates out to is actually a 5% increase plus the 53-week year.
That's what I got as well.
Yeah, so that's, I wanted.
Well, there's somebody, because the intention were 2 and 1.
Okay, so 57,500 would be 2% plus.
Unless you want to leave it.
But that's what I thought I heard, and I want to make sure that was,
Yep.
so 57,500 would be the amount for 2% plus a 53-week year.
What'd you say it was, 50?
57,500, almost exactly. It was like 57,499 point something.
Oh,
There's a
498 or-
little bit of.
Yeah.
That's funny, I did just done that too. I always feel better when my math works out with Jeff's. I always figure I must have done it
I
right.
used a calculator on that one just to be sure, but,
Don't play Scrabble against him.
what are your thoughts tonight? Do you want to actually start going down and looking line by line? Or do we want to
No.
schedule schedule Monday and Tuesday next week to basically bang this out and kind of schedule which departments will do?
We're doing Kelvin Tuesday.
We're doing roads Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that will be our first look at it. Do we want to see how far we can go Monday with everything else?
Yep.
Can everybody do both Monday and Tuesday next week?
Yes.
If it gets it done, yes.
Okay, so
6 o'clock.
Monday at 6 o'clock, and we'll go until we're ready to.
You got a budget for beer?
Just bring, I was gonna say, just
So-
bring coffee.
So we'll start on, we'll hope to get to everything, administration and fire and all those on Monday night. Is that workable for you? Are you able to be here?
No, I'm pretty sure I don't have anything scheduled Monday night. Couple of quick questions, if I could.
Yeah.
One of the things I was hoping to get this evening was part of the reason you asked about the capital and stuff like that. I don't want to do the capital based on a general direction that doesn't sound right to you guys. And one of the things I'd like to, and I know we ran into trouble last year with whether it was a capital or whether it was an operational. And we have some issues at the station that I'd really like to incorporate in the budget this year between the trim boards that, I've
Whether
actually
it's
had.
maintenance or whether it's.
Yeah, I need, yep, and that was one of the big headaches, and that's why I didn't wanna, if you look at my thing, I have it down the cover page, I have it down as looking at the paving. I think this is a good year, and we've discussed that this may be a good year this year, next year, to actually try to get the paving straightened out over there and do that finish coat. There's that trim and the repainting that 9,000 there, that's a big one we had the discussion on last year. Is it operational or is it capital? I think it's really semantics. I think to me, the number itself, the sheer numbers and the magnitude of it make it a capital expense. But I guess I wanted a little sense of direction, because the other thing is the insurance company, when they came in and looked, I'll talk to you about that. I have that issue with the floor in the meeting room. I need to address that. In fact, I think we may have sent the report back saying we were looking into costs and trying to figure out a plan for addressing it.
What's wrong with the floor?
The floor in the meeting room is actually, I've had it repaired a couple of times before, so this time I want to go full tilt. I want to jackhammer the concrete, take the tiles off, jackhammer the concrete out, put new concrete, and then let it cure, put the tiles back down on top of it. But what we have continually is, where it used to be old truck bays, we have a thin layer of levelastic, which is not what they used last time around. I don't know if it's really the correct name for what they used before, but they had to pitch in the floor, they had to level it out. I don't know if it's traffic or just they don't get good adhesion with the old concrete or what it is, but it separates, the concrete separates and the floor starts to bubble and lift. And then the tiles eventually crack. When they come up, it's not just tiles that are coming up, it's actually pieces of the concrete underneath that are coming up as well.
You got a price on doing that, please?
Yeah, actually, that one there, I do have the price quote on. Even though you're giving me a time frame of Monday, I think some of this stuff I can probably have all squared around it.
So the
And as well as get the capital stuff.
Didn't we put money in the budget for the security cameras last year?
Yeah, we did, and it didn't get expended. If you actually look, it shows the money, but we had
Was it in the operating?
No, capital.
No, it was in
It was
capital.
appropriated from the capital.
Yeah.
fund.
Yep, and it was never expended, and it stayed right in the capital. It just
So,
lapsed
yeah.
back to the capital account.
And I think,
Making sure I
I
remember
mean,
correctly.
that would be a good discussion to have, whether to put it back in or whether it's worth it.
About the trim, didn't we put money in for that too?
No, we actually
that was a big
didn't
debate.
do that because it was decided last year. We had a question whether it was actually a capital project
Or maintenance on the
or maintenance, but I'm guessing at this rate, it probably could be capital because you're doing it for a long-term replacement. But we needed. I don't know where everybody stands.
last year there seemed like there was four. It was like trim replacement, capital. There was something.
Hood.
It was
It was a
three.
hood.
It was
Yeah,
like
the
three.
hood, which was
Yeah.
three.
Got done,
The only
yeah.
one that was done was the hood. The board took out the trim, the board of the budget committee. I don't know where it came out, but it came out
Yeah.
because
And
the hood and the cameras made the trip.
Yeah,
The hood
we-
did happen. The cameras, because of the numbers, there wasn't enough allowed in there to actually make the cameras happen.
So in this case, putting 3,000 for cameras again
It
doesn't.
wasn't three last year. It
Oh.
was not
So was
three.
it 3 total for the
It
hood?
was a
Oh,
three total for the
okay,
two.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the same number again this year.
So the trim and the painting for 9,000 is
And I did not
exterior,
go out and
interior
get-
trim.
I did not go out and get prices this year. I did go out and get prices last year and for actually have a lot of the wooden trim. If you go look at our doors, or anywhere, especially, and the doors are actually out front. The worst places are out back. The other thing we need to do is paint the building. The blocks are losing their seal.
When we're
concrete.
talking about doing the composite board? It's-
Yes, he kept correcting me on what it's called.
Well, it depends on what you buy, but yeah, there's
Plastic.
AZAC and there's composite. Yeah, it's not plastic.
No, I didn't call it plastic.
So,
Yeah.
I've also heard of
But anyways, I
wacky.
was gonna use composite. Some of the trim had been replaced with the composite, but what hasn't is starting to rot and stuff. Actually, people have periodically brought it to our attention, and that's actually the front of the building is actually, if you go on the backside in the shadows and stuff where it doesn't get much sun, we don't do it, we're gonna have issues sooner or later. I mean, I'm sure we can buy time and we can wait 4 or 5 years, but we're gonna have some serious rot that may extend beyond.
Is any of this rake trim up the roof, trim on the roof or anything? Just curious.
What?
Is any of this the rake trim on the roof or anything, or is it just basically around the doors and?
No, actually, I think, I'm pretty sure this included a price to do some of the trim up around the roof. And actually, there's trim around the sign, because the trim.
None of
around the
that's
sign-
rag though, right?
Nope, none of it's scrapped. It was all wooden. It's all wooden trim, except for what has been replaced with.
Yeah.
Some of the windows have been done, because the back window, two back windows were really bad. Those were done before. Some of the door, the fascia boards, is that what you call them? Not the inside boards, the fascia boards were done.
The outside of the door?
Yeah, those were really bad. And then, but the inside ones on the overhead doors, those weren't done. And now they're
That's the
starting.
casing, yeah.
So,
They're starting.
Well, those you probably ain't gonna wrap anyways, cause that's something, I wouldn't wrap it around the garage door at home, cause they just get whacked.
Yep, so,
question.
I guess I'm looking for your advice on it. I personally think because of if we wrap all these together and because of the number of the stuff and everything, and yeah, to me, it's a capital project, and I think we were hung up on semantics last year more so than
Well,
what.
and we may have, but to me, this looks more like trim, replacement and painting. This looks more like a capital. Last year, when we was talking about it, it seemed like it was stuff that could have been, it was smaller, and maybe it got bigger because it didn't get done last year, but it was smaller and it looked more like maintenance repair to me,
Yeah.
so. So I'm okay with this as far as a.
But anyway, yeah, I realize, yeah, I'm not expecting you per se to vote, but I just want a sense of direction. If the board seems to support the concept, that I should try to put together the package and the price quote to support it and look at it as a capital project, and
This, the
The
full
budget committee's gonna ask for it
$2,000.
anyway. The budget committee's gonna wanna see.
If we present it to them, yeah.
And that $2,000 for that's kind of for digging up the pool, like you said, that's kind of roughly what it was last
yeah,
year.
and that one there, I actually have the quote on. That's to rip up the
Old 6 months
tiles,
old.
yeah, I can't remember if it's 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 area in
6
the
months
meeting
old.
room to actually jackhammer up the old concrete, pour new concrete. I'm pretty sure they told me it needed to be cured for a couple, 3 months, or should,
Yeah,
before we put the tile on it.
yeah, because you got dampness coming up through the bottom.
Um,
Is that a old estimate, 6 months more?
No, actually, this estimate was done, we were in the process of trying to get estimates when Risk Services came in for their inspection.
Couple months
Risk
ago, yeah.
Services came in,
Might need a new one.
we were actually already in the process of trying to get prices so I could make a recommendation to do something with it anyhow.
On the other line here about the new engine that you're asking,
Yep.
what is your expectation on the length of the loan payment that we're going to be asking for? I'm just trying to get an idea of what our
Bond term.
what the amount per year when we start in 2000, if we start in 2017, what the amount per year is going to be. Were you
Yep, no,
looking-
actually, this number, I don't, in going back to the old capital plan, I had it listed in there for 6 years at $80,000 a year, I am pretty sure. At this number here, I mean, up to the board, we can extend it to 7 years and reduce the annual payment, or we can
yeah,
increase
for-
the annual payment. Our interest rate is probably gonna be, well, I
For-
actually think if,
3%.
yeah, I can't imagine it's gonna be more than 3. I would think 3 is high. I would think it's
For a
probably gonna be a little
6
lower.
year on this, with the interest rate and so on, I'd be expecting that it'd be 85 to 90,000.
Just a guess?
Yeah.
I would think somewhere in the vicinity of 30,000 or so would probably 30, maybe 35 would cover the interest rate on it.
Oh, extra, yes,
Oh,
yeah,
for
yeah.
the whole thing, so
I agree.
I'm thinking the total payments would end up being around 500 to 510. So divided out, yeah, at 30, 35 over the course of 6 years, it's gonna be somewhere.
Yeah, probably closer to 85 than 90.
Probably a $6,000 or $7,000, probably $7,000 increase over what I had in there. So, I mean, the options are two. If we choose to do it, we could actually look at doing 7 years at a lower than $80,000 payment, or go with a higher payment and do 6 years. If I had to, I'd rather not recommend without sitting here looking at the capital budget. where it's
When was the
at.
last time we actually got an engine? Was it,
The last one we purchased was engine 21, was 2004, and it was actually, cost us $25,000 because it was done through
oh,
the
we got the,
IRAC grant,
what was the actual purchase price on it?
$250,000.
So prices have really skyrocketed on them.
Yeah. Hey, if you go back collectively, yeah, I'm assuming you could probably calculate a percentage, because
Well,
Kenny would have, if Kenny was sitting here, no better than I
It's
do.
250, you're talking in 11 years, it's almost 100% higher.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know how this engine compares to what we, how they compare, but,
Actually, I haven't worked on it as close as Keith has and everything, but this is virtually, yeah, it's very similar to 21. It is actually very similar in accessories. I mean, there's a cap system on this one, but there's a light tower on engine 21, so they kind of offset. So, yeah, as far as the accessories or anything, the features of the truck, they should be offsetting features. So proportionally, I think you can probably say, no, this is the price change that you looked at over the course of the last, 11 years, 12 years.
any other questions on things here tonight?
Not at this point.
We'll be going through it on Monday and, see what we come up with.
Monday at 6, correct?
Monday at 6, yeah. Thank you very much.
Go.
I move to adjourn.
All in favor? Motion carried.
Excuse me.
Who's the recommended, dealer on this one? Or
Well, actually,
Decide to go with it.
yeah, the reason I didn't put anything specific is because I hate to see us list anything specific, because I was actually prepared to come tonight.
do you want to wait till we know that everything's completely off? I was prepared to come tonight saying, I think I may have already reported that it was down to 2.